known my fellow commentator, Ken Doherty, for over 30 years. We've never shared a commentary box before, so I'm very pleased to say we're doing so this evening.
Yeah, since we were about 10, Phil, wasn't it? Yeah, it's great to commentate with you, Phil, and looking forward to this match. Two great protagonists, two left-handers, of course, and Trump already through after winning this group, so it'll be just interesting, as Jill said there, the amount of centuries, 97 centuries, an incredible tally. It'll be interesting to see, can he add to that in this match?
What?
He's got a great opportunity already straight away.
Well, history suggests he will, and I'll tell you why. In their head-to-head, Trump leads 4-0. Frames total, 18 frames for Trump, 4 for Wells.
8.
And in all of those 4 previous matches, Trump's made a century. Every single one.
Well, it doesn't surprise me at all. He's made a century, I think, in most matches he's played, particularly over the last couple of seasons. He's been very prolific. There he tried a delicate little cannon. I'm a little bit surprised he didn't use his usual
16.
Lots of top spin and arc into the pack with the great power that we know he has. He just tried to play a delicate little shot, and it hasn't gone the way he would have liked. He's still on this red. Just got to watch the cue ball here. May go perilously close to this right centre if he hits it hard enough, but he's judged it nicely.
17.
Yeah, very well played.
Ken, you've seen all of the modern greats. You've played all of them and beaten most of them. In fact, if not all.
22.
I think Trump,
17.
over the last couple of seasons, is getting into that category.
Yeah, without... Oh, I think he's there already, Phil. I mean, you know, the
23.
season that he's already had, winning 6 ranking tournaments. You know, and of course, I think, you know, the big one for me was winning the World Championship, and just the way he played against John Higgins in that final. I mean, the session where he completely dominated Higgins and broke the back of the final was just incredible snooker. I think he's come of age over the last couple of years. I think he's not only, he's always been a great scorer, he's like
31.
such a great long ball putter, great power, cue power. But I think over the last couple of seasons, Phil, he's changed his game slightly. He became a little bit more conscious of playing more match snooker, and because of that, I think he's bore some great fruit from it, and he's become a complete player now, and such a difficult player to beat. But his scoring power is just fantastic, you know. And he's great to watch, isn't he? I love the way he expresses himself when he plays, the elaborate shots that he plays. He entertains the crowd. He's the whole package.
Well, unlucky there. That's the toughest way to go into the pack. Off the top cushion first with the cue ball. He went into them
44.
with quite a lot of power, but to no great effect.
I mean, you've commentated on lots of the players over the years. I mean, what's your assumption of Judd Trump and his game?
Every time I'm down to commentate on a match involving Judd Trump, I'm excited about it. He's a little bit like Rory McIlroy. He's got something else, hasn't he? Something different to the others.
Judd Trump.
The other thing I really like about him, the attitude. This year, this season, he's got cash coming out of his ears. He doesn't need the cash from this tournament, and yet he's turned up today and been totally professional. Okay, he's not played his best. We know that. He's rusty. But the attitude has been exemplary.
Yeah, couldn't agree more. I think that's part of the game that has changed, I think, over the last couple of years as well. So it's Daniel Wells. Doesn't look like he's going to play the plant onto that red over the middle pocket, so he knows full well if he gets the cue ball down into bulk area, that red is not potable over the right centre. Judd Trump play a little cheeky shot off the top cushion and try and knock the red in. Is he going to play a cheeky shot? He is, you know. Oh, he's missed it by a country mile, but it'll be put back for sure.
Daniel Wells 4.
Or maybe Daniel Wells actually it might be better for Daniel Wells to actually put him back from where the position is now, because if he puts it back to the original position, Judd Trump will have another go at that, whereas this is a little bit more difficult. Ooh, he's very close. So now he must hit a red.
Foul.
He will be warned if he doesn't hit a red this
Daniel
time.
Wells 4.
That the frame will be awarded to Daniel Wells. So he's got to be very careful, Judd Trump. He definitely has to put him back in again, Daniel Wells. We were just talking about this earlier, Phil. I played a match against Steve Davis back in the Irish Masters a long, long time ago, and it was just when the miss rule came into effect. And if you miss it 3 times, particularly when you see a full ball on, you lose the frame. And of course, I played Steve Davis, and it was 4-all. It was the final frame. He ended up losing the frame and the match, you know, and I was into the next round.
Well, that was the first time ever that a frame had been forfeited with 3 consecutive misses on TV. Now, had you run down the list of players playing at the time, Steve Davis would have been the least likely player to do that.
Yeah, absolutely. What's Judd Trump going to do here? He must hit a red now, don't forget. If he hits a red and still fails, it's okay. But he must hit the red first. He may be able to hit a red and bring the cue ball up towards that red on the right centre. That's a good shot. That's a possibility. It might be in, you know. Oh, good effort. Excellent shot. Just a little bit unlucky. A slighter contact on that red, and I think that would have been in. But that's exactly what he was playing.
Prime example of naughty snooker.
To the green pocket, nicely played. He's on the red to the left corner. He's just coming, having a quick look at the black. Will it pot into this bottom right hand corner pocket?
6. Seven.
Tells you it does. So you can drop this black in and take the red that's closest to the top cushion, just underneath the black. Position of the reds. Under normal circumstances, you would feel
14.
and he was got a great chance to win the frame from here. He has struggled a little bit today, so of course he is playing the world champion, so he's going to be a little bit nervous. I know you see it, and that's
Daniel
a typical example when you're struggling a little bit, as he has today, even when there's no crowds, or there's still a bit of pressure on these players out there. And there's more added pressure when you're playing a world champion and someone who's in great form.
Daniel Wells 14. 1.
And there's no doubt there's an aura beginning to build around Trump. The more he wins, the more invincible he looks. Everyone, of course, talks about the crucible curse. First time returning champions, no one has ever
3.
successfully defended. Joe Johnson came close in the 80s. The man to my right also in the 90s, but no one's done it. I think Trump has to be the favourite to break the curse.
Yeah, I really believe that. I mean, he is the man to beat this year. There's no doubt about it. We, 6 ranking tournaments already this season. He would be going into the World Championship full of confidence, and he'd be the man to stop. And someone is going to have to play
8.
out of their skin to beat him. But of course, he will know full well, as most players do, that the Crucible course does exist, and history would be against him. But I think if anybody ever had a chance of doing it, it would certainly be him, particularly
13.
because of the season that he's already had.
He looks so assured around the table, though, and we know he's a great break builder. Phenomenal potter. And the safety aspect of his game has improved in
20.
leaps and bounds. There's no weakness now there at all, and he's got a superb temperament to boot,
21.
as he showed in winning the Players' Championship.
Well, I think that's the most important key. However much talent that you do have, I think you've got to have the temperament, you've got to have the bottle, as they call it. And he has it in abundance, and he's done it time and time again, so it makes him
27.
a very tough player to beat. Logo just slightly irritating him there, but
28.
I just wonder, Phil, like, it's a decent enough question, like, with no crowds at the Crucible, does that make it a little bit more difficult for the top players to perform, and makes the
35.
tournament more open? Because, particularly at the Crucible, it's the crowd that create a lot of the tension and a lot of the pressure.
That's a valid point. One thing I will say about Trump, though, he won the Gibraltar Open before the lockdown with no crowds there, and he played beautifully,
43.
especially in the final. I think the very thought of winning things for him is
45.
motivation enough. It might affect the others. I don't think it'll affect him.
Yeah, it's an
48.
interesting one, isn't it?
$52.
Now we're going to see some naughty snooker here. Well, I'm surprised it's only 4 cushions
57.
there for the pink, but still a nice shot.
Well, he's not playing to the
63 in the
crowd
frame.
because there isn't one. But he won the frame nicely, efficiently. And as Tatiana Wollaston gets the balls out and re-racks the table, Judd Trump is winning yet another match. In front at 1-0. Frame number 2 about to begin in the closing match of what's been a lengthy but very rewarding day. It's great to have the good old green base game back on our screens again. Daniel Wells breaking off. Already a frame to 0 down against an opponent who's given him plenty of punishment over the years. That said, their last meeting was really close. 4-3. Trump prevailed in the last 16 of the 2017 Scottish Open. Because of the need to be hermetically sealed here, there are no players' guests, no coaches, nothing like that allowed, no managers. And I think one of the big influences on Judd Trump over the last couple of years has been his brother Jack. Unable to be here at this tournament, but I'm sure he's watching back home. And if you are Jack, Judd's doing pretty well as normal.
One.
If he wins this match tonight, Ken, it would be his 14th consecutive match win.
Yeah, excellent record, isn't it? I'm sure Jack, even if he does win this match, I'm sure Jack will pick some points to to chew over with Judd maybe tomorrow. It's always the way, isn't it? When people in your corner, they pick out some of the shots that you should have done better at or you've missed. Just to keep you on your toes, there's nothing wrong with that.
3.
So Daniel Wells, let's see what you can do here. He's a talented player, Daniel
4.
Wells. He hasn't fulfilled his potential as yet. As a professional, I did say earlier today, you know, he's come back from the yips. He had a bit of the yips, which is, you know, remarkable to come back from that. Well, he has a lot of promise, and I think given time, gets a few matches under his belt, he can certainly make inroads from his ranking at the moment.
Ten.
I think that red just below the pink pots into this bottom corner pocket. Can maybe run through and get on the black here. He's got to finish low on the black, you would feel.
11.
Yeah, I would have liked to finish low on the black there so you could disturb those 3 reds above the black just with one shot now. I think the red on the extreme of right of those 3 does pot into the opposite corner pocket here, so that's the one he's going to try and get on here. Has he hit it hard enough? It looks okay. He's having a good look at it.
18.
Well, he wasn't on it, and that was a
Daniel
mistake.
Wells, 18.
And that's another mistake. A bad safety shot. He's left this red on. That's why I felt he should have got low on that black and brought those reds into play. Could be costly. Judd Trump gets a nice kiss on this brown.
2.
No. There's certain shots, isn't it? You see with certain top players, and then some of the players who are lacking that little bit of confidence, Phil. And they don't play the same shots, and because of that, they break down and don't make the same big breaks as the top players do. It's just a little bit of confidence here and there.
Yes, and the thing with scoring is that if you can consistently win frames in one visit, you expend much less mental energy. And particularly at the Crucible, where you're playing very lengthy matches from the get-go, if you can win frames easily, it's a real advantage, as you know, having gone the distance there.
absolutely. Totally agree. The less energy used up, the better for you in the long run. And as you said, winning frames quicker. Playing the positive shot when you're in, when you have the opportunity, can be the difference.
1.
You see some of these top players like Judd, Trump, Ronnie O'Sullivan, Neil Robertson, Selby, Murphy. You go down the listing. Mark Allen, Mark Williams, all those players. Once they get in amongst, the pink and black, they try and split the balls open, get the
6.
black and pink open as quickly as possible, and win the frame in one visit. And play very positive shots. John Higgins, another one.
Seven.
And we've got some very positive players involved. Tomorrow it's Group 9 and Group 3. Here on Table 1 you're going to see Jack Lazowski, who in full flow is a revelation. Oliver Lyons, Luca Brissell and Robbie Williams. Over on Table 2 tomorrow, Group 3, it's
14.
Mark Davis, Mark Joyce, the shootout winner this season, Michael Holt, and Louis Heathcote. Another interesting day coming up.
Yeah, some great players
15.
there to look forward to. That's quite an interesting group, isn't it? With Jack Lazowski, Luca Brissell. Very interesting. Oliver Lyons in that group, yeah, and very interesting group, that one.
21.
And I feel obliged to say this because everyone's wondering. The great man, Ronnie O'Sullivan,
22.
he's in action on Friday in group number 10.
Twenty-seven. 28.
And plenty of open reds. Won't need that difficult red that's close to this bottom right hand corner pocket. Oh, he's got a horrendous
20.
kick on the blue there.
Yep.
And just went almost straight to the left hand jaw. And it's not often you see actually kicks now since they've introduced the new chalk, but I see Judd Trump is not using that chalk, but this is as bad as kick as that you could get.
Trump 20.
You're right, we've not had a great amount of kicks today, but we've had more than we have seen in the last 6 months or so, because, as you say, they've been virtually eradicated.
1.
And they always kick thick. I think the worst kick I ever saw, not the most significant, but the most extraordinary reaction, was one from Sean Murphy in a European Tour event some years ago. Defied physics.
I've had a few kicks over the years, Phil, I tell you that. I probably needed most of them. I certainly deserved them.
7.
So just 5 points the difference now for Daniel Wells. And this is the type of situation that players, people always ask you, well, how far are you thinking ahead, how many shots? Well, Daniel Wells already in his mind. The 3 open reds are no problem. Well, he'd be thinking about that red that's closest to this right hand
8.
side cushion, because he knows he's going to need that to win the frame. Now, has he got a nice angle when potting this pink into the middle? I'm not quite sure whether the angle is there. If you can pot the pink and try and move the red on the right hand side cushion, not at this time, but no, it doesn't look like it. No, another miss.
Daniel Wells. 8.
Just not been, on top form at all, has he, Phil? He's struggled all day today. He's got some good chances, but he just hasn't really scored enough and missed some very, very easy balls, Daniel Wells.
Yes, right from the outset as well. He was involved in our second match this afternoon, beaten 3-1 by Elliot Slesser, and ever since he's been on the back foot. And that's somewhere you don't want to be against Judd Trump.
Eight. 9.
Well, action for the day is now concluded over on table 2. I can tell you Jackson Page
16.
has entered the day with a victory. The teenager has beaten Jack Jones 3-0. Of course, that group well and truly secured by Dave Gilbert a while ago. Nevertheless, that boosts young Jackson's wages for the day.
Judd Trump. 16.
This little passage of play, I think, is very striking. He's won the group, everything is in hand, and yet he's still playing properly.
Yeah, it's a good point. He could have had a go at that red there. Okay, it was quite difficult, but he wants to finish on a high when he's playing. He may have a go at this red now. This would be interesting. Definitely worth having a go at. Cue ball up into the bulk area. Yeah, good shot.
1.
Wasn't really playing on the colour. Knew exactly where the cue ball was finishing, but it puts him in a more commanding position now. He could roll up behind the brown, or he could try and put the yellow safe. But I think rolling up behind the brown. The right hand side of the brown, just cover the yellow rather than try and put a colour safe. Yeah, just a delicate little shot up behind the brown. Snooker your opponent. He's got to hit it, and he's also got to get it safe.
Judd Trump. 1.
You know the word, Ken, granite.
Oh, and a miss.
Well, that is
Judd Trump. 7.
the worst possible outcome. You see, by hitting the black and giving 7 penalty points away, Wells is now 28 adrift with 27 on. needs a snooker.
Two.
It's amazing, Phil, isn't it? Just that simple. He was contemplating trying to put a colour sight, but it was a simple little shot just to keep the pressure on your opponent. Simple little snooker. A snooker that he thought Daniel Wells would get out of quite easy. He ends up missing it, hitting the black, which is an extra bonus for Judd. And now Daniel Wells needs a snooker. Could be finding himself in a snooker here if this cue ball travels behind the black. Just hope to miss that green. Everything is happening. Oh, what's he doing here? Is he swerving all the way around it? What a shot this is. Oh, unlucky.
Foul.
I'm sure he'll concede. Daniel Wells.
Judd Trump 4.
Well, I was sure as well, but he hasn't. Once his money's worth, he's put the 50 pence in the meter.
Well, he's 27 points behind. He pots the brown. He's 23 points behind on the blue. So he could get one snooker on the blue, or he'll need two snookers on the brown. So pot the brown, get in behind the blue, knock the blue down the table, and try and get the cue ball tight behind the pink. But he's got to be careful he doesn't knock the cue ball into the middle pocket. So 1 5-point snooker to tie for Daniel Wells, and this could be pretty close. Yeah, good shot.
Daniel Wells 4.
Could have done with it. Cue ball really tight behind that pink, so stop Judd Trump coming off this right hand side cushion. Still missable, this blue though. It's definitely missable. Oh, hold on.
Foul.
Hold your horses. This frame is not over just yet. 18 points behind now. Drop the blue in. Pink over the hole, but this blue is not straightforward. It's missable. It's very missable. Oh, good shot.
5.
Phil, we're going to have an exciting finish to this frame that we thought was over a few minutes ago.
Absolutely, the power of perseverance. Mind you, I think this pink is a little tougher than it looks. And with the cue ball on the side cushion and plenty
11.
of green base between white and black, this is not a certainty by any means. Well done.
18. Daniel Wells.
It looked as though Judd Trump was a certainty to lead 2-0. We were saying that Daniel Wells might have conceded. Good job he didn't, because he's still got a chance to make it 1 frame each.
Well, that was an incredible finish, wasn't it? And fair play to Daniel Wells. He played a good snooker. And what about this for a black to finish? Excellent shot.
It's heads, your choice.
Now, Judd Trump has lost the toss, so Daniel Wells has put him in. Normally, black on the side cushion, cue ball on the other side cushion. Oh, he's tried to cut the black in. We thought we might see a little bit of naughty snooker. That would have been some shot, but overcut it. Now, a chance for Daniel Wells. A frame where he needed 2 snookers at one stage. This black for a fantastic comeback. It's there. The cue ball
7.
slowed up.
Frame. Daniel Wells.
Fantastic frame, Phil.
Yes, and that means he's absolutely locked up 3rd place in the group, so it's worth a few quid to him. And he's on level terms with Judd Trump, the world champion in world number 1. 1 frame each. It all looked like plain sailing for Judd Trump. 2-0 seemed pretty much a certainty.
Frame 3.
But you never
Judd
know
Trump
with
again.
snooker. Daniel Wells snatched the second frame on a respotted black, and that's why it's 1 frame each. And Judd Trump's match winning streak is now maybe in jeopardy. The only score he can win by is 3-1, so he has to win the closing 2 frames. Yes, just to reiterate, by winning that last frame, Daniel Wells guaranteed 3rd spot in the group, which means he will go home with £1,500. David Grace will be the wooden spoonist. His consolation, £1,000.
Possible plant here for Judd Trump. Played it with an element of safety, taking the cue ball back for the ball colours. There's Daniel Wells sizing up the pot here, screwing the cue ball back for blue or the ball colours. Tried to hold for the pink. And the only problem about playing that shot, if you miss it, then of course you leave a red. Oh, this has gone close to the brown. Very close indeed.
Yes, Judd Trump plus good luck equals victory, doesn't it? Let's face it, that was a really good run of the ball. I have to say, Ken, the atmosphere backstage today has been really good. You know the phrase you hear bandied about a lot now, we're all in this together. And I think the snooker community has really come together to produce this tournament. And what everyone's done, it's a real team effort. Everyone should be really applauded.
Yeah, absolutely. Totally agree. I must say I'm very impressed with the setup here, the hotel, the venue, and of course, as you said, what they've done to get this up and running in a short space of time, Phil, has been truly remarkable. And it's great to have live sports, great to have snooker. It's one of the pioneer sports back on our TV screens. And it's very commendable what Matchroom have done at TV or snooker. I think the players are all delighted. Okay, we don't have the crowds, we don't have the atmosphere, but it's still, these players just love being back.
Two.
Of course, everyone has had to pass a test, a COVID-19 test, as we see Trump rifling that plant. Then missed the pink. Oh, well, in one sense at least. So he has a fluke snooker in behind the brown, and then that outrageous fluke on the pink. Not a flicker of emotion on the face.
8.
Yes, we all arrived on Saturday to have our tests. Thankfully, everyone who's been tested so far negative, which is really good news. Still though, backstage all precautions are being taken. Social distancing is being undertaken.
9.
As regards to the players who are involved tomorrow, the 8 players, they all arrived this afternoon.
15.
Had their tests. They're now confined to their
16.
rooms until the results come back. Then they'll be given a wristband to say, yes, you can enter the arena and go about your business.
Twenty-two. 23.
As for food, which is very dear to my heart, as you know, Ken, it was a rather surreal weekend because we received food placed at our door in the hotel. There was a knock on the door. Your lunch is here, sir, your dinner. We
29.
give the person time to clear that area, then we'd go outside and pick up the food and just eat it solitary. That's the way it's been.
It's been a bit strange. How were your bangers and mash, Phil?
Well, I never complain about food, and I certainly never complain about free food.
36. 37.
Okay, you see the wristband, Judd's right hand there. That's what all the players get and all the personnel backstage get, just to show that they've been tested and got
43.
the all clear. There you see.
44.
And of course, Ken, you'll have 2 wristbands. You'll have the red one as a player and the green one as a commentator.
Does that mean I get 2 breakfasts?
50.
You can have mine, Phil. Tell you what, Phil, I'm very impressed with this stadium, this arena as well. I mean, it's a wonderful setup right next to the hotel. Wonderful hotel as well. And it's perfect for a snooker event, isn't it?
And of course, which is really exciting for ITV Snooker, the
51.
champion of champions, which is one of our biggest events, is here in November. Only 8 players have qualified so far because, well, the man at the table is one of the big reasons. He's multiply qualified. It's a 16-man field. So you get the feeling that all the players in this year's event won't necessarily be winners. They might have to go to the rankings. As Trump again misses one that's very surprising.
Judd Trump, 51.
I mentioned this earlier on today, but I think it's worth repeating that the winner of this event just doesn't receive the £30,000, but he also gets a place in that champion of champions. And even if you lose in the first round, you're guaranteed a 5-figure check, so it's a real incentive.
Yeah, it's a nice little bonus, isn't it? And something to look forward to. This red has gone over the left-hand corner pocket. Can he see it? Is he blocked by the black? With a red, maybe he try and swerve it and just try and clip the right hand side of the red as we look. Not quite sure we can see it. We might have to use a little bit of right hand side on the cue ball. We've got the perfect line to look down should he choose to play the little swerve. Is it worth playing the plant? Doesn't like it. He's going to try and get the cue ball up towards that left hand corner pocket up near the yellow. That's pretty good, but there may be a possibility of a plant now for Judd Trump. It's not straightforward.
One.
Well, 2-1 from here should be forthcoming.
Yeah, just a bit surprised there from Daniel Wells. I mean, he was always,
3.
as we see this Judd Trump 3-ball plant, there's always a possibility, even if you did get a good cue ball.
4.
Surprised Daniel Wells didn't take the opportunity to try and swerve, try and pot that red. It's a tremendous shot. Getting the top spin on the cue ball help.
9.
Potted the blue. He keeps looking for the rest down the bottom of the table. He keeps forgetting about it. It's only a natural instinct for a snooker player just to put the hand at the bottom of the table and pick up the rest, but there's no rest there. They're all in your own little basket there, Judd, bottom of the table. And that will stop Daniel
10.
Wells coming back to the table. 61 points in the lead, just 51 remaining.
Yes, and it means that Trump will go through the group undefeated at the very least.
Judd Trump 12 and different.
Again, by his standards, no great fireworks, but he's potted some really nice balls in that frame, and he's regained the lead as a consequence. It's Judd Trump 2, Daniel Wells 1. One frame today is left.
It's hard to resist not to take it from you as well. Yeah.
It has been a marathon day of snooker here at the Marshall
Frame
Arena
four.
in Milton
Frame
Keynes. We've
left.
got one frame left. Can Judd Trump win it and therefore protect a 100% record in this group? It's either that or Daniel Wells will salvage a draw.
A bit short of pace with the cue ball, Daniel Wells. Possibility here for Judd Trump, you know, how good of a long putter he is. Oh, he's tried to float that in to get on the black. His usual way of playing that particular shot, much more difficult shot to play. Let's have a look at this red left of the blue. Will it pass the green into the top right hand corner pocket? The answer is no. This red may cut. No, just another safety shot.
His reign as world champion has been textbook. He's a really good ambassador for the game, and my co-commentator for this match, Ken Doherty, was arguably one of the greatest ambassadors for snooker ever. And I think it's really important that the guy who's right at the top of the tree in a sport carries himself so well, and Trump certainly does that.
Yeah, I totally agree. He's always affable, friendly, and loves the game. It's very important. He plays him as much as he can. And he's, you know, they talk about characters in different sports, Phil, and I think he's really sort of taken over the mantle from the great Jimmy White. He's sort of in his sort of ilk, you know, the way Jimmy White used to play these expansive shots. And he can do it so easily, Judd Trump. I love the way he expresses himself on a snooker table. And he's very good at fluking balls as well, as we've noticed in this match. It's hard when you're playing a player like that, isn't it?
Well, he does have his share, there's no doubt about it, but, you know, that's the amazing thing. They always used to say Steve Davis was fortunate in the 80s, Stephen Hendry in the 90s, and perhaps they were, but maybe they made their own luck.
Mm. He's got to float this yellow into the left centre, not easy. Oh, great shot. Just about wiped its feet just before it dropped, but just at the right pace. And Daniel Wells will be sitting in his chair and saying, he might be sitting in his chair for quite some time. Didn't do anything wrong. Okay, missed it. The red into the bottom left hand corner pocket. But because of that fluke, he would have been back at the table. He's got to sit and wait. Will he get another shot?
Trump today, by his normal parameters, has been somewhat restricted in the scoring department. He's made 3 half centuries, a top break of 63, which came in the first frame of this match. Wouldn't it be nice if he went out with a century and inched closer to 100 centuries this season? Remember, he needs only 3 more to become only the second player to make 100 centuries in a season after Neil Robertson. He's guaranteed himself more snooker by being involved in the next phase of groups. But he's got a lot of pride when it comes to
18.
centuries, and I know for certain he'll be just upping the concentration level here to try and close out the day with a ton.
Yeah, totally agree.
$24.
It's quite surprising that he hasn't already had a century today. Oh, he's missed that one to the left
Chip
centre.
trump,
I suppose
24.
the bit of rustiness. This will be a bit of tiredness as well. But certainly, a lot of the players are a little bit rusty early on. It's understandable. They haven't been playing their usual amount of hours
1.
during the lockdown.
Yes, and just to reiterate, that's not because of sloth or laziness, it's because they've not been allowed to. If you're a practicer in a club, the vast majority of lockdown, they've simply not been available, those facilities. If you have your own table, well, that's a different matter.
7.
Well, I've got no excuse, Phil. I've been rusty for about 20 years now.
I know that Stuart Bingham's got his own table, so he could be one to watch.
8.
Yeah, it's quite surprising. I think there's only 6 or 8 players out of the 128 that actually have tables at home, so quite a surprising statistic.
I know for many years John Higgins used to practice at home, but
14.
he realised that he needed the bonhomie, the camaraderie of practicing with other players, and John, Stephen Maguire and Anthony McGill have actually got tables
15.
now in a unit, an office unit. Solo practice is soul destroying, and also practicing against players of obviously inferior quality is no good either. So if you're practicing against other professionals, that really does sharpen you up.
Yeah,
20.
absolutely. I think it's worked very well for all those players, Anthony McGill, Stephen Maguire and indeed John Higgins over the last couple of years.
21.
Hasn't travelled far enough for the red below the pink, so take this red with the
26.
rest. If you maybe able to reach it. He's a tall lad. He's throwing a lot of cue out, so maybe get a little extension on the bottom of his cue. Back up for pink or blue here.
$27.
The one red he'd like to pot after this pink and the red below it. Just thinking a few shots ahead, so pot this red, get on the pink. I think the red that's closest to this bottom right hand corner pocket, if you can somehow get on that, that would open the black into that corner pocket also.
33.
And it will make this break a little bit easier. So try and nicely on the pink and then a nice angle to get on this red.
34.
It's closest to this bottom right hand corner pocket. Could screw this pink in and try and play a little cannon on the 2 reds. One of the 2 reds left of the black and still be on that red into the right corner pocket. Could go wrong. He's got to be pretty precise with the cannon. He missed the cannon, but he's still on the red, so it's not too bad. And by potting this red, the two reds that are left of the black, both of those will pot into this bottom right hand corner pocket as well. So it's imperative when he pots this red now, get top side of the blue or a nice angle on the pink. Here you see the two reds available. But you've got to pot the red.
Daniel Wells.
Just a few of those easy ones. He keeps getting to a stage, Phil, doesn't he? You know, it just every now and again he just throws in the red that he shouldn't really be missing.
One.
Well, Wells is a former ranking event semi-finalist, and you don't reach the last four of those big tournaments without being a very capable sort. But today, he's not shown his true colours. In fairness, even though he's won the group, neither has Trump, but he has been more efficient. When you catch the near jaw, I'm afraid, no hope.
4.
Nicely played. You've got a nice angle on this red. You can pot this and
9.
just come off the top cushion, leave a nice angle on the black.
10.
You can disturb these two reds and bring them both into play here. Nicely played. Don't think the black will go on its spot, so it may go on the brown spot. Is there enough rail? Not quite sure whether there's enough rail. Tatiana Wilson will take out the ball marker and just check. But no, it goes on the highest available, which is the brown.
17.
Judd Trump doesn't want the
18.
black to block the brown. He's going to need the brown to win the frame. Looks like there may be enough rail for the brown to pot.
Yes, and I think he's mindful of the fact that he's got this match-winning streak going.
24.
Just a reminder, if he wins this frame, that would be 14 consecutive matches. As the
25.
red just about scrambles in.
One. 33.
Well, if the brown does pot, this is effectively over.
36.
And there's the confirmation.
Maybe disappointed, Daniel
4.
Wells. He's had his chances. He won a great frame where he needed a snooker, and missed a couple of chances in a couple of frames after that.
45.
But Judd Trump, although he's not been at his best, it's still impressive. 3 wins out of 3.
51. Frame in a match.
Yes,
Judd
indeed.
Trump.
This one by a score of 3 frames to 1. He's won 9 frames today, lost only 2. The world champion and world number 1 looking the part. He wins the group with a 100% record. His last victory, 3-1 over Daniel Wells.